Good morning. This is the Nutrition News Network. Today is December 22nd, 2019. I am Brian Budd. Going to be kind of remote today here for the Nutrition News Network. So, got a couple studies I wanted to kind of go over today for the holidays because this will be on the way. So, I will go ahead and record this. So, a couple stories today in regards to, like I said, that I'm going to go over here that are pretty interesting also too. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, Happy whatever you want to call it, however you celebrate it. Make sure that you do it with peace and love. That's all I ask. Okay, so first article is a Science Daily article that was on December 18th, 2018 from Science Daily. And this one is just basically showing that right now is early life exposure to dogs may lessen the risk of developing schizophrenia. Now, they're saying that these findings don't link the similar contact with cats that help with schizophrenia. So they're saying ever since human domesticated the dog, the faithful, obedient, the protective animal has provided its owner with companionship and emotional well-being. Now a study suggests that being around man's best friend from an early age may have the health benefits as well, lessening the chance of developing schizophrenia as an adult. So this is really cool because if the thing is, it's not just about nutrition, it's also about certain things in your life being connected and things of that sort. So it goes on to say, as I was saying before, basically a 25% reduction in the amount of schizophrenia. Now, this is a double study. So the colleagues here at Johns Hopkins, it's 1,371 men and women, ages 18 and 65. That consisted of 395 people, 594 controls. The information was documented. So there was one part where it was 300 this and 300 that, and there was a control group that was just there. And the analyses were conducted from age ranges between the birth to age 3 to age 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 12, and 13. So what they've shown is if the highest amounts being from earliest to birth, with the as much as 25%, that's humongous for schizophrenia. So I mean, imagine that you have 3 to 4 million people with schizophrenia in the United States. I mean, if you had a dog, now this is not a cat, by the way, a dog, 840,000 cases of schizophrenia possibly could be prevented by pet dog exposure or other factors associated with that pet dog exposure. Now, there's obviously a lot of explanations they're saying, but maybe they're saying something in the biome, there's something in that as well. Maybe the germs, give a better gut microbiome, whatever you want to call it. But this study is really cool because I like it because, I love animals. And the thing is that, when I pet a dog or whatever, it makes me really feel calm. And it's kind of weird. Like your problems melt away because you're focused on that animal is just focused on you no matter what. And I think it's a lesson that, yes, they're man's best friend. And also too, I think because dogs are more like the rock, they're the mountain. They're always there for you. They have very masculine energy, even if it's a female dog, very masculine energy. Cats are more feminine. That's why they're felines. They come and go as they please, and, they kind of just, they sit on your lap, they purr, but then they leave. You go chasing after them, they hiss at you, and they want to claw you up. So it's kind of like women in that respect. Now, don't give me any hate mail. I'm just saying. Cats are wonderful, too. I've had cats in my life. They're wonderful animals as well, but this study has to do with dogs. So with dogs, it basically shows that dogs are obviously man's best friend in a lot of ways and could reduce the amount of schizophrenia if they are there early at birth, which is a humongous public service This is amazing. Next article, of course, is going to be for the journal Nutrition. The journal Nutrition showing that there is some instances of water intake and the Cinderella effect. So this is about basically from the journal Nutrition, September 2019 edition. So basically it's showing the plasma and serum osmolality are often used to indicate hydration status. So basically what it means is that there's very little that varies over a wide range of urinary osmolality. So meaning that when you go from proper hydration to dehydration, basically saying there's a little ways of showing the difference between the two. So that's basically what they're saying, but they're also saying a lot of the countries they viewed, 6 out of 13 countries, almost 45% were chronically dehydrated, or 60% in 13 countries were found to be inadequately hydrated, a problem that occurred more commonly in males and adolescents. Similarly, based on a urine osmolality, half of sampled American children were inadequately hydrated, and particularly boys, younger children, and non-Hispanic blacks. Children, however, might be at high risk for hypohydration, meaning dehydration, as they're particularly active and compared with adult have greatest surface area relative to size. So, what does that tell you? It tells you that, number one, water, 8 glasses of 8 ounces a day is good if you're 150 pounds, but what if you're 250 pounds? What would you need? Well, you probably need 125 ounces if you're 250 pounds, not 64 ounces. So that's, the thing is some of these, in the journal, the American Medical Association, you only need 8 glasses of water a day. But if you drink coffee or you drink diuretics, that takes more water out of it. Also, too, minerals like magnesium and potassium that strip minerals away as well. I could go on and on. But basically, when the study is showing that that a less than 2% decrease in body of water had negative consequences. The loss of 1.1% of water volume, disruptive driving, and after losing 0.75% of body mass, drinking water improved memory and attention, and anxiety decline. Meaning that if they drank just basically 70% more water than their dehydrated status, so if they're 60% dehydrated, and they drink the basically the equal parts there, their anxiety declined, their memory and attention got better. I mean, this is unbelievable. This should be a blockbuster, finding. This should be on the news everywhere. But what do you see on the nose? Oh, take your Viagra, take your Cialis, sexual impotence, blah, blah, blah. Even though all it is, basically, why don't you just do some more cardio? You get the blood flowing that way and take some extra vitamin C. It's insane. And this is just basically saying that this actually affects hormones. It says that the brain is 70% water compared to 60% of the entire body. It says low fluid intake has a particular influence. I mean, that's kind of common knowledge, but what they really got into, what I found interesting was that a loss of just 0.6% in body mass water decreased blood flow to the orbital prefrontal cortex, ventral cingulate gyrus, dorsal cingulate cortex, hypothalamus, amygdala, right striatum, this dorsal cingulate cortex, hypothalamus, amygdala, right striatum, post-central gyrus, and the superior parietal cortex. The reduced blood flow associated with poor mood, cognition, reduced rate heart variability, basically meaning that you reduce heart rate variability is a sense of your health, better health when you have higher amounts of that, so less of that. So many of the brain areas associated with hypohydration and dehydration were those associated with control of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. It was proposed that a reduction in body mass of water alters the activity of brain areas that control automatic nervous activity with the consequences for effect. Duh. But, it's kind of interesting that how many it affect. You think that water doesn't really affect dopamine levels, but if you're not adequately hydrated, it can definitely affect dopamine and serotonin levels. Not directly, but the functioning of the systems. So, for example, if you're addicted to something and you're dehydrated, well, why don't you try drinking more water or trying to get more hydrated, cut back on the diuretics, and see where you're at? Just by being properly hydrated, you might be able to save some misery. Now, obviously, it's not a one-shot cure, but, just clean, filtered water. Obviously, you don't want to have all the pharmaceuticals in the water. Good old tabletop water filter's fine. Most places have it. And if you want to get real fancy, get a water filter that removes chlorine not chlorine. Most of them do remove chlorine, but get one that removes fluoride, which is very hard to do. So that way you don't have that affecting the bones, especially your men. But that is just an interesting study about water and how it affects the dopamine and the prefrontal and the amygdala. And it's amazing. When you're dehydrated, guess what? Your body is in flight or fight mode more often. The old saying goes, I'll take care of me for you, and you take care of you for me. So drink your water. And especially during the holiday season, drinking a lot of diuretics, especially coffee and cakes and cookies. And if you're drinking alcohol, make sure you take your zinc. This has been the Nutrition News Network, December 22nd edition. I'm Brian Budd. It has been a pleasure to be with you today. I will be back soon, and make sure you click the subscribe button below and share this video with anybody that you know that would be helpful. I appreciate your time. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I will see you soon. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This show or products appearing on the show are and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Nutrition News Network. All rights reserved. 2019.